one. So let's start right now from the top, which would be men D2. Here we have the teams that are going to be and participating. And the first thing that is really notable is we've decreased the number of teams in this division. So we had 3 teams moving down from Division 2 to Division 3, which are Palm Beach, the Southwest Florida Hammerheads, and Jacksonville. Each one for a different reason. I'm going to just mention some of the reasons I sort of know or may suspect for those teams moving, which they may not be 100% true because it's not that easy to find these things out. But in the case of the Hammerheads, they ended the D2 season last year in very bad shape. A lot of people like not playing anymore. And I think in a responsible way, they decided, so this is not looking good. Let's like pause. Let's play in D3, which is less, depends the team you have, I guess, but it's a little bit easier.
Focus on less travel.
And yeah, and let's
easier
do that.
For smaller teams to sustainably compete.
They're not the first ones that have done this, of course. We have several teams in the past that have been moving up and down, but I think it was a responsible thing to do and give them a good opportunity to, settle in and come back probably next year. Palm Beach, I'm not sure, but it just seems to me that they tried, they did sort of the right thing to, after winning so many years D3, they tried the D2 and it sort of did not work out. So, and I don't know, Palm Beach is sort of a small club. They typically do not have very large rosters, and so they decided to go back to where they came from, which is fine. And then we have Jacksonville had like a weird trip because they had gone. Do you remember the history of Jacksonville the past few years?
Yes.
You want to tell it?
You tell it as best you can, Charlie, and I'll jump
in.
Okay,
so basically they had moved like 3 years ago down, or 2 years ago, they moved down to D3, and then the following year they came back to D2 and they had a D3 team.
Yep.
I guess they got encouraged by I guess good numbers, and there was also a change in the in the administration, but it definitely did not work out. So they've decided to which I think is a good and responsible way to keep your club together, because the worst thing that can happen is because you want to do too much, then things do not work out and it's not good.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than a figurehead, I'd like to say coach, right? But this isn't to like lay blame, right? I just say there's nothing worse to a team than a coach who wants it more than the players. I think that's what leads to a lot of that's what leads to most problems, right? Is pulling the horse forward, right? Where you want the horse to be motivated and you just guide the horse in the direction that it wants to go. But yeah, all those 3 teams from D2 jumping down to D3, them doing so allowed the board to enact the promotion relegation policy this year, rather than having to do what we do most of the time, which is introduce the policy in one year and then enact it the other. With these teams wanting to come down post season, right? Like it was already September when these discussions were being had. It was like, hey, you're going to come down, but if that's the case, we're enacting this policy now. And that was announced at the AGM. So good,
Do you want to explain that policy quickly if you can? No? Okay. I don't blame you.
I can't. It's again, Shout out to Carrie. She puts all the thoughts on paper, and writes them down and makes them concise, and then
But
it's really easy
just
for the board to just look at and be like, "Yep, that's what we said. We agree with it." But basically, it's if you're blowing people out of the water in your division and it's very clear and apparent, then you're going to get bumped up. And then also it gives the board discretion. You might, some teams might say we're ready to move up, and we can look at that data. We can look at those registration numbers. We can look at substitution policies that they had. Were they getting a lot of people playing time? Are they showing that they have a robust, well-developed base? Then all right, then you for sure move up. But if you won all of your matches by 1 point using the same 15 people, it's not sustainable.
And anyway, this allows for us to have, which I really like, in D2, home and away games for everybody. I wish we could always do that. And we do have to mention, we do see the Miami Tridents in this list. And I don't really want to get into very detailed because, in what happened with Miami Tridents, because we don't have really time for that now. But I do have to say that the Miami Tridents are participating in the D2 division, but they are considered a D1 team, and this is because they played the ARP. So they will be having 5 games, I believe, right now. During
they catch everyone once.
Yeah. But these games do not accrue points, I believe, and they will not be going to postseason.
Not in Florida.
Not in Florida. So as I said, it's really a topic that it actually is very has a lot of moving parts, and I don't want to get into that, but just so people know that the Tridents are not competing for D2. What do you think? Which are, like, right now, what teams do you like to be playing the final?
I think Fort Lauderdale probably has a really good shot. Just because they were there last year. It always is a great motivator when you lose in the finals. I think, at least, like I think losing in the finals is better than winning. If you win, everyone's hungover the next year, but if you lose, everyone's hungry.
Oh, it's better to lose. That's what you do with your team. Hey guys, let's lose this game, okay?
Let's lose this game for next year. Let's sow our seeds. No, but it just, in terms of motivation, you can imagine that Fort Lauderdale will be hungry for it.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see who comes out of the Bay.
Yeah, wait. Hold on a second. You said they lost. They didn't lose. They won.
Fort Lauderdale?
Yeah,
sorry,
won.
You're right. Oh my goodness, what am I saying? It's Pelicans. Right.
Pelicans are the one hungry that they lost.
Sorry,
the last
Pelicans
3.
are the hungry one. My fault. I confused it. I
definitely
switched them in my mind.
Gonna be really hungry this year, the Pelicans.
Dude, yeah. Well, we'll see who comes out between St. Pete and Tampa. That was, I know, a closer one between the two. Tampa might be looking to reload and keep that rivalry going. It's all a crapshoot, man. These teams don't play enough fall ball for me to have an opinion.
Oh man, I was gonna mention that we really have so few games in the fall that you don't really know.
No idea, man. No idea. These people can have 15 people at training, and I wouldn't know. They can have 100, but I know that they don't.
So anyway, this year also a little change is we're going straight to finals with 1v2, right? There's no semifinals because
since everyone's playing each other twice, you don't need a best of 3 to figure it out.
And just so people
also we kind of got shafted in the scheduling department with just the really early super regionals.
Yeah.
So
I was going to mention that.
Yeah. So if you want a better schedule, stop caring about national championships.
Or let's play in the fall, man. Let's have a longer season.
We should have pressure-free. We should have development-focused rugby in the fall.
Okay. More
I know,
rugby.
but we fight about this all the time.